Hello, hello. Okay. So we got Baptiste, Lucio, Hanzo, Reaper, Reinhardt. Okay. So they have a Mei. So it's going to be really hard on your tank here. Just to make sure that he doesn't overextend and get walled off if she's good with the walls. So starting out here, your Lucio should be amping out a spawn. I'm sure he probably will. And then going straight to the point is probably the play, but you don't always do that. You could maybe go high ground with your Hanzo, and then leave the rest of your team on the point. We'll just see how you approach the first fight though, before I talk too much about it. Okay, I don't like the charge there, so first of all, at the beginning of a point, or at the beginning of any map, you don't know what they have, obviously. Obviously I do, since I can see that they have a Mei. Which makes this a much worse charge than it normally would be. But you basically never just charge in right off the bat. You wait for the first 15 seconds of the match to pass, and at that point, when you press tab, you'll be able to see the enemy team and their team comp. Even if you haven't seen them yet, you can press tab after 15 seconds have passed, and it'll show you everything that they have. So before you know what they have, you shouldn't be really aggressive. You kind of just play slow. I'd probably just be walking up to these stairs right here and just play like right here maybe. And you want to take this half of the point and just hold it probably right here. I know they have a Mei, so you're going to worry about them walling you here, which is why you probably want your supports to be close to you. And they'll probably be like right here, just so they don't get walled off super easily. You can still get walled here on this as well. This is actually just a really good point for Mei, so you do have to be careful, and this is going to be on your Baptiste largely to save the Reinhardt if he does get walled. So one good thing about this point is this has a pillar right here. So say that they wall the Rein when say your Rein's right where he is right now, and your Baptiste is like right here. Say they wall him off. There's a lot of pillars and stuff, so you can just do a tiny little charge jump immediately after the wall. You just charge jump, and you jump just a little bit, and then you can bounce the immortality field off of this, or off of this, or whatever, depending on exactly where your Reinhardt is, and you can get the immortality field to land on him. So you don't have to charge like a full jump and then throw it straight down. You can do just like a little hop, bounce it off a wall nearby, and it'll fall right on top of him. So that is probably going to be important later. So, but as it is right now, your Rein's in so deep that like he's probably just dead, to be honest. But it's possible he survives here, especially if they did not have a Lucio. This wouldn't be anywhere near as punishing of a charge. But since they do have a Lucio, they made it to the point at basically the same time as you guys. Your team's a little further behind, so your Rein's in that a little too deep there. Okay, seems like he might have made it back, but they could still wall you here. This Mei is coming up. Okay, yeah, the Mei. So they did wall you there. So right here, that jump, little tiny hop you did there, it's very dangerous for your Rein's safety there. God, I love this replay system, said no one. Okay, so she's going to do the wall. You do a tiny little hop, and then you want to bounce the immortality field off of this, maybe. You could hit this, and it would land here. It's fine. Or you could hit it right off this thing in the back, and then it would land here. And either one would help your Rein to stay alive, because his shield is almost completely gone, so there's not really a whole lot he can do. Obviously, if Rein is walled and he knows he's walled, the options for your Reinhardt is you want to as Rein, either charge or shield, one of the two. So if you're Reinhardt here and you get walled, you're going to want to charge either this way towards the Mega, like just turn and just charge, or this way out here. Whichever way you think that your team can get to you better, you just want to charge in that direction. If you don't have a shield, you want to try and charge. I probably, in this case, I would not charge towards the Reinhardt, because he has his charge, right? So say you do charge to the left, the Reinhardt could countercharge you, and then you would just be laying on the ground in front of their whole team, and you would die a horrible, painful death. So I would probably charge to the right here, so he doesn't have a chance to countercharge you. So I would just take a right, charge this way direction. If you could pick up the Mei while you did it, that'd be cool, but she's pretty far ahead of you now, so it's probably not going to happen. But say she like walks up inside of you and tries to get you like this, then you could turn to the right, charge over there, maybe kill her while you're at it. But if you don't charge, and since you don't have a shield, you're probably just dead here as run. Unless your BAP hits the craziest immortality field ever, which he could do. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, he did hit an immortality field, but it was a little late. So, God, I wish this went back in smaller increments. Alright. Okay. So now that your Orion's dead here, you want to back up probably, because this fight's probably just an L. But your team also could, when Mei walls, you can focus down one of the pillars. Like if you just have a set play for your team, so it's like, hey, if somebody gets walled, everybody focus the far right pillar, and just everybody knows that. Like if that happens, you just all focus the far right pillar. Then your tank knows if I get walled, I'm going to sit right in front of the far right pillar, and then the rest of your team knows immediately when the wall comes up, you shoot the far right pillar, something like that. That would be, that's something you can do to burst it down, because Mei wall has a lot of HP, but each individual pillar only has like, I think 150 HP. They didn't change it, I think. It used to be 200 or 300 or something per pillar, but they nerfed it, and I don't remember exactly what the number is now. But once upon a time, Mei was the scourge of ranked for all Reinhardt mains, so they did nerf that at one point, so I don't remember the exact number anymore. But regardless, even back before the nerf, if you had your whole team focus fire a single pillar, it goes down pretty freaking quick. So you can break that one pillar, and then that'll open up the heals, immortality field, etc., whatever else you need to do to help your Rein, or an Ononate or something like that, to help your Rein get out of the situation. So that's something that you can do in the future, is focus down the pillar and just have one that you know you're going to do ahead of time. So I'm going to watch your Rein here. I'm going to see what he does. Okay, so you do have 300 HP on your shield here. You are swinging into the entire team when you're walled. I don't know if you didn't know you were walled. Okay, yeah, you should know you're walled here. So you can see the wall. You're walled. This one swing, you were already swinging, so it's whatever. But I'd probably just cancel it. I'd probably just hold right click here, because you do have 500 HP almost, and you have 200 shield HP, which is not very much, but it might be enough. So I would probably just shield here, and then pray to God you can get your charge back in the next 2 seconds. And this Mei is on the right, so maybe you can charge away and kill the Mei and escape, and then your team can save you. Maybe. But if you just keep swinging here, you are dead. Okay, you are very dead. Honestly, you're probably dead regardless with the amount of damage that was coming out. Okay, so your team should be backing up. I think the Hanzo here should probably be up on this high ground on the right side here. Just as a general rule, it's good to take the high ground here. It's not really very good for your team to just be shooting up a hill. So once like you lose this fight with the Rein there, you want your DPS to be probably on a flank, probably up here, or less good would be on this side, but either one is better than right in the center. But either way, your Rein's dead, you probably want to back up here. Probably just be holding S right now. Okay, their Rein is going in. Okay, so I as Lucio would just speed your team out. You guys should, your Rein is back, but you're still down 1, so if they walk in here, you're still 5v4 and still weak from the last fight, so I would just be leaving. Like all they have to do is press W here, and your team is just, you have to take a fight if you just let them. So I would just cake your Lucio and just speed your whole team back and just keep running back until you see the Hanzo coming back from spawn. Their Rein has really been up in everyone's face this whole time, so he's getting a lot of ult charge, which is going to be a big problem, because he's already almost got shatter and your team is nowhere near anything. So this is going to be on your Rein to block it. So as Rein here, you got to be really careful of you know, your shield health and stuff. So you're at 600 shield health right now, which is not very good. But so right here, you gotta be letting your shield health charge up. So just flashing shield like that for like half a second, all that does is like stop your shield from charging back up. So hold up. Okay. So you're at 1200. Shield a little bit back there, that's fine. I'd probably throw a flame strike there, nice. Okay, so here, just let your healers heal you. Don't flash the shield there. That wasn't good. Flashing it here is probably also bad because their whole team is backing up. They're all LOSing you because of the your Bastion, right? So nobody's peeking, right? So here the flash was not great, but it's not a huge deal. So here, your Bastion rips through the Mei wall. They're now all running, right? So they're all running. So I think, Jesus, what is that? Okay. This is the worst thing in the world. Okay. So they're all running back. You don't need to shield when they're all hiding. So all you're doing there is making it so your shield is really just not having a lot of HP for when it does matter. So their Rhine shield is going to be pretty weak because your Bastion was beating the hell out of it, right? So here it is. So your Bastion's beating the hell out of their shield is cracked, yours is not, right? So if you can just, so you have 430 HP, that's a pretty good amount, and your healers are all alive, everyone's here, so you should just be walking in here, and you can face tank a little bit of damage here. So if you're not, like, if you still have all your armor, or not all your armor, but you still have armor, I wouldn't be super worried about taking a little bit of damage as they're all running and scrambling for cover. So, like, your healers can out-heal some of that, your Baptiste can help, and he needs his ult anyways, so it's fine to take some damage here. But more importantly, what you want to be doing is, you know that they're going to have Shadow this fight, because their Rhine's been going in hard, and he's had a lot of damage dealt. He's been up in everyone's face, he's been hitting flame strikes on everyone. It's been pretty big for him. So you know that the Rhine is going to have Shatter, which means that it's very important for you to manage your shield health, so you can block the Shatter, and that you have your shield when the Shatter is going to come, right? So having only 600 health in your shield here is not very much, considering your shield's so big. It's pretty easy to deal 600 damage as a team pretty quickly. So they can just break your shield and shatter. So you want to have as much shield health as possible leading into this fight, is all I'm trying to say. So now you're at 300, 274 rather, which is not very good. They now have shatter, right? So they're on the corner. The Rhine's probably just going to step around and shatter you here. You need to be ready for that, right? So you know the Rhine's on the right side. So your options approaching this fight are, you go straight up here and you try to just react to it as he comes around the corner. That's one way to do it. You could also, what I'd probably do, since your shield's so weak at this point, I would probably flank around this side, give your shield some time to charge as you're walking around, and then come up here, and then you have a little bit more distance. Maybe you can block the shadow from here. That'd be good. Their Rhine might, when you're doing that, when you're coming out the back here, they could speed forward and shatter you in the back. But at that point, I don't think there's really a whole lot you can do about it, except you have your own Lucio. Your team should probably just be moving up and not like you just take the fight fast enough that like they can't really do that. So if you have a Lucio and they have a Lucio, they're not really going to catch you. So if you just go around the right side here, and then you're on their back line, and then say he tries to go around the back, you just keep running forward. He won't be able to catch you. Keep the wall between you and him. I think it'd be fine as long as you do it fast enough. They'd need to be pretty decisive for that to really blow back in your face. But anyway, so I think your whole team should be right on your Rhine here. You should be speeding everybody around the left side probably, and then your Rhine should be really looking out for the shatter and trying to force their Rhine to waste his time trying to get it. So just like, you just keep shielding, and like, don't just hard shield when you're trying to block a shatter. You want to like flash the shield and then flash the shield and flash the shield. Like, just keep doing it, reminding their Rhine, I have my shield. And like, because what he's waiting for probably is he's probably waiting for you to either come right up to the corner and then he'll peek and shatter immediately, which makes it really hard for you to react to, or not really hard, but fairly hard for you to react to. Or what he's waiting for you to do is he's waiting for you to start swinging. And once you start swinging, he's like, oh, okay, he's swinging, he's not shielding, therefore I can shatter, right? So one thing you can do as Rhine is you can start a swing and then just cancel the swing with your shield, and it'll bait a lot of worse Rhines into shattering. So like, and then they'll just hit your shield because you canceled your swing with the shield. So let's see how you approach it, but you just do need to be careful of the shatter coming up here. Oh damn, the 360. Okay, so I think you were swinging there. Okay, he got you during the flame strike. That actually really sucks. So when they have shatter, you gotta be really careful about the flame strike, because that's one of the few animations that like you'll get stuck in and you can't cancel it with a shield. You can always cancel your left click your swinging of your hammer, you can always cancel that with your shield at any moment. You cannot cancel your flame strike. So be really, really careful of swinging, or not swinging, but throwing a flame strike when you know the enemy Rhine has shatter, unless you're pretty far from him. If you're pretty far, then you would have time before the shatter reached you to get your shield out, and it wouldn't matter. But if you're right in front of him, he can just wait for the flame strike and shatter, and a lot of the time he'll get you. So be really, really careful about the flame strike being stuck in that animation during the shatter. But whatever, that was a pretty clean fight win for them. They got one shatter and your whole team's dead. So I would just keep backing up here. Okay, they're running up to your spawn. You swap to Orisa. Okay, hold up. Where were we at here? Okay, I don't know if I would have done that. You were 70% on shatter. Like, you were pretty close to shatter here. So I think it would have probably been better, especially since you have a bastion. So you're winning the shield war pretty handily here with like your comp versus theirs. So like look at the shield damage here, right? You have Baptiste, who's pretty damn good at shield damage. I think him and Zen are the top 2 dealing shield damage supports in the game. Lucio is whatever because you're mirrored. You have 2 Lucios, one on each team, so they kind of cancel each other out as far as shield damage goes. But Lucio's not terrible for shield damage. He's okay. So Baptiste, Lucio, it's fine. You have a Bastion, which is the best at breaking the shield in the game. And then you have a Reaper, who's also really, really good at breaking shields because he can't miss his pellets, right? So all of his pellets, no matter what range, basically, they're all hitting Ryan's giant shield because even with the spread, the shield's huge. He's not missing anything so shotguns are usually pretty good at breaking shields. And then you had a Ryan, obviously. So they, on the other hand, they have a Lucio who's not really great at breaking shields, as I said earlier. They have a Mei. She's not good at breaking shields. She shoots pretty slow. She's not terrible, but she shoots pretty slow. Like her right click does 75 damage a shot because it's hitting a shield. It's no headshot, obviously, so it's 75 damage per shot, and it's fairly slow shooting. McCree's decent at breaking shields, but he's the only one on their team that is. And then you have a Kiriko. And she's even worse. She's like one of the worst shield breakers in the game. So I'm assuming you already know how Kiriko's damage works, but it's so when she hits a headshot, she gets, I think it's 3x damage or some shit. So basically, if she's not getting headshots, she's doing like no damage. And as stated earlier, you cannot headshot a shield. Surprise, surprise. So they have Lucio, not great at breaking shields. Kiriko, terrible at breaking shields. Mei, not great at breaking shields, and the McCree is the only one on their team that can break shields. So your whole team is pretty decent at breaking shields except for Lucio, whereas they have one person who can break shields very well. So if you literally just walk up there, you have Ryan, and then they have Ryan, and they're shielding, you literally just lay into the Ryan, break their shield, or get it so it's really low, because like the lower you get the shield, the easier it is for your Ryan to shatter, because they can't just hard hold the shield. If you don't focus the shield, he can just sit there and hold right click and your Ryan can never shatter. But if it's getting low, he has to start managing his shield health, and at that point he's got to be like, okay, I got to drop the shield, let it recharge, and then he has to react to the shatter at the very least. And if you can straight up break the shield, it's broken for like 4 seconds. He cannot shield, and then you just get a free shatter. So it shouldn't be that hard for you guys to shatter the shield if he's overplaying his hand. And with your team comp, you're really, really good at breaking shields. So if you just come around the corner and everybody's laying into the shield, you should be able to get a shatter pretty easily. So I don't think the Orisa swap is great here when you were almost 80% on your shatter, because like that's the only ult you were really that close to aside from your Baptiste. Also, I think Ryan is really, really good with Baptiste. So his Flame Strike will one-shot people through Bap's ult, which you almost have. So when you use Baptiste ult, you probably want to have a Ryan behind it, and you throw a Flame Strike through it, and it'll either hit their whole team, or either you can throw it at their whole team and get a shit ton of ult charge, which is obviously good for obvious reasons, because it'll do 200 damage on anybody it hits. That's a lot of damage, even for a tank. Or it'll do 200 damage, and it'll hit a squishy, and they'll die immediately, right? So if it hits McCree, Lucio, or Kiriko, they're just dead in one hit, that's over half their team just dies in one hit to a Flame Strike, and you have 2 of them. So it's just really, really good to combo Baptiste and Reinhardt. Regardless, I don't think you should swap to the Orisa here, but I see why you did. She's really, really good against Mei. So if you get walled again, it's a lot easier to stay alive. And then also your shield damage is even more insane with this. So it's not a terrible swap. I think if you were going to do it, I would have waited one more fight, got your shatter, used it, hopefully won the fight off the shatter, and then you can swap. But I don't think I would have just gone for the swap when you're about to get your shatter, because now you're playing Mystery Heroes and you're going to be struggling to get an ult before the end of this match, because it's not that long. Okay, so they're all backing up here. What I'd probably do here, since they've been holding pretty close, I think your Bastion has the right idea to go up here on top right. Especially you don't have a shield anymore, so like it's kind of weird to push around this corner directly into a Reinhardt swinging at you. So I'd probably take your whole team. Also, your Lucio should probably be back here speeding your BAP, because I believe your Reaper's TPing. But anyways, so everybody should go up top right, I think. Probably come here. And then one good thing about this is, so they still have a Mei, so it's really annoying for you to push chokes like this, right? So if their Ryan is standing like right here, like he is, okay, he's crouching. Looks like he's going to go for a sneaky charge. But anyway, say he was standing right here and just swinging his hammer at you, and you're trying to push into that. It's kind of annoying. Say your Orisa pushes him back, or somebody pushes him back a little bit, and then you get walled, and then they can kill you, right? That's not fun. And it's hard to push into that when you don't have the right comp for it. But it's always hard to push into a Mei when she's going to wall you. But one thing that makes it really good going up here is even if they wall you, they really can't punish it. And they also can't wall that well. So Mei has to be able to see the ground that she's walling. So if she's down here and she's trying to wall up there, the only place she can put her wall is right here on this very edge where she can see. She won't be able to put it on the door. And even if she could, they have no verticality on their team at all, except for the Mei. So the Mei wall is their only source of verticality, and then also the Kiriko climb. So if your team comes out here and say one person goes out early and they get walled, they're fine. They can't punish that. Whereas if you're down here and somebody walks forward and gets isolated with the wall, they could maybe kill them, right? So it's very good to push high ground when they have a Mei. It makes it very difficult for them to punish the wall. So I would come up here. It's also okay to go on the right side, or I guess the left side since it's your spawn. But over here is also decent. It's not great because this is a good choke for Mei to wall as well. But say she's all the way over there and she doesn't notice, you can get out before she really has time. And this is a pretty wide open area, so it's pretty difficult for her to wall anybody over here. So this isn't terrible if you can get through that door in time. But anyways, I would probably go up top. I think that's probably your best bet here to minimize the Mei wall and also to keep the Ryan at a melee distance, because your team has a lot more spam than theirs. I think it's probably just good to go high ground here, but we'll see. Looks like that is not the plan. So we're going main here. I probably would have fired my my right click as Bastion a good bit more, like just immediately there, probably just fire it. Okay. So the Ryan did charge somebody there. Nobody died. It's good. So I don't even know who charged. Was it the Orisa? Yeah, the Reaper. Wait, does that not kill Reaper? Hello? Does charge not do 300 damage anymore? Everything I know is a lie. Okay, well, Reaper's alive. Either it's a Christmas miracle or they nerfed Ryan and I didn't hear about it. It used to do 300 damage. Looks like it did 200. Either way, your Reaper's alive, so that's good. He'll Wraith out of that. This is a good usage of your Bastion's turret form here when the Ryan's up like that. Yeah, so your team could have pushed in there on that, I think. Because when the Ryan did that, like if you just speed around the corner there and just don't let him get away, I think you actually just kill him. Let me see what your Orisa was doing here, actually. But I think you could have punished that Ryan there, because he didn't get a kill with that. Okay, hold up. Okay. So what I would have done with that there, so since that's a boop, right? That thing is both a defense matrix and a boop. I would have got behind the Rhine, and I would have pushed him into your team, not allowing him to leave, right? Because what you did is you pushed him into the wall, and then pushed him up, and then now you're in front of him, right? And he's just backing up, and he's going to get behind this corner, and he'll be fine. If you just get behind him and push him into your team there, he's just stuck in front of a Bastion holding right click, and your whole team holding, like, you're dead. He's so dead. So if you push him into their team and make it so he can't not overextend, like you just make him overextend because you're Orisa and you just bully him and push him, he would have died here. That would have been really huge. Actually, would have been a really good punish of his charge. So just keep in mind, as Orisa, your like the booping ability of your E is really powerful for tanks that are overextending or anyone that's overextending, but mostly tanks because they have a lot of trouble backing up sometimes. If there's not like a Winston or somebody who can literally just jump and fly away. If it's a Reinhardt, it's really difficult for them to back up if you don't let them with that. All right. But his shield is still weak here. You guys can still get this. So if you were to push up right now, your whole team, and just focus his shield, that would be pretty good. And you would say you hadn't swapped the Rhine, you would have Shatter here. Like say he did that and you didn't have a Rhine and he backed up, their whole team is standing here in the open, right? Say this is a Rhine and not an Orisa now. You literally just turn and Shatter 3 and they're all dead, right? That'd be pretty insane. The Kiriko might be able to use her E to save herself. The Mei already used her wall, so she doesn't have that, but she might be able to use her left shift. The Lucio's definitely fucked, right? The McCree might also be fucked. You might get all three, you definitely get at least one, and then your Rhine shield is in much better health than theirs. As it is, though, you have the Orisa, so you can still make this work. So I would probably, you're going to pick one, you're either going to go around the corner and kill the Rhine. The only problem with that is you risk getting walled once it comes back off cooldown, or you push forward and you just kill their team here. Either one's fine. You just gotta pick one and do it as a team, but you should be probably like amping speed in here to murder them and going in. But the only thing is they do have 2 support ults, so they have the Lucio ult, they have the Kiriko ult. So you could kill the Rhine here. They're probably gonna ult and save it. But you could bap ult in return, and it would be pretty good. I think you'd probably be even if they did that. Okay, so they do use the Kiriko ult. I think if you Baptiste ult here, your team probably still just hard wins this. So I think what you do is you just go... Oh, your Bap's already right here. So if your Bap puts his ult right here, right now, and then your whole team just strafes like a little bit. So their team has speed boost. They're probably going to run in a little bit. They're probably going to run in right here. So I would back up just a step. Right here is Bap, and I'd put the ult right here. And now you can see this way. And you can see if they come around this corner, if they take the ult around this corner. And if you just have a Bastion or somebody shooting through that, like they are so giga fucked, it's actually insane. So I think you probably just put the BAP ult here. Like back up a step, put it here, and then I think you still win this fight. And at the very least, you'll probably force beat as well. And maybe then you lose, but they had to use 2 support ults just to win that, and I think that's probably worth it. But we'll see what the BAP does here. Okay. Ouch. So, hold up. Let's see Orisa here. Okay, so probably the right play to back up there is Orisa. Going over here is fine. Okay, a good stun of the McCree out of his ult there. I don't really like the E usage there. It really wasn't doing a whole lot. It was okay. You just wanna you wanna use it for the boop usually, or to like back up, make the enemy back up so you can do things and murder them. Here I do believe you hit Fortify, which kills your Baptiste. He was probably dead either way. But I probably would have let him pass, to be honest. So yeah, you hit Fortify, your Baptiste dies on you. If you hadn't hit Fortify, I think the Rhine might have actually overextended. He's really weak here. So if you had not hit Fortify, he probably goes back into this corner, pins right here. He has like 100 HP, and he's in your backline. Your BAP still dies, but their Rhine probably dies for it. And say their Rhine cancels his charge, and then he's right here, then your BAP lives. But I probably just would have let him go, and then I would have fortified after. Try to kill the Rhine here. But just be careful about fortifying in front of Rhine when he's charging. If he's charging into you, he will stop right there and just kill whoever he's got. So fortify, if he doesn't have anybody, go ahead and fortify, he'll stop him dead. That's always pretty good. But if he has somebody pinned, you want to be really careful about that. So I would let him charge into the corner here and probably get a kill on him. That being said, you are down your Bastion and your Baptiste now, so I'd probably just leave at this point. Okay, they used beat. You're definitely leaving now. Okay, going into the corner there, Orisa is not very good. You probably want to just keep backing up to spawn. Okay, they're all leaving now. Cool. So, once again, I'd probably go high ground here is probably the right play. I'm not sure if your team is just up here for funsies or... Okay. So they are going main again. I think you should probably go high ground. That's... Okay, that's a bat bolt. I'm not... Hold up, let me just look at it here. Okay. So they used Beat, they used Kiriko, they used High Noon, and they have Shatter again, they have Mail, right? So you already know that they have Mail, 100% you know they have Mail, because this is like the last fight, and you haven't seen the Mail this game, she's been here the whole game, obviously she has Mail. The Ryan having Shatter again is not super surprising since he landed a pin last fight and he was all up in your face. So it's not super surprising, but I wouldn't be shocked if you if you weren't tracking that he had Shatter. But you should definitely be ready for the May ult here, and also ready for a May wall. So I would not be going main again, but we'll see here. Okay. So I don't, unless they were all literally standing right there in the open, I really don't like this bat bolt here. You want to get up a lot closer here, because yeah, your team's all kind of just, there's nothing to shoot at here. So before you use the bat wall, you want to make sure the enemy either is already entrenched in that position and can't leave, they're already engaged on you, or it's basically on the point and it's like, okay, now you're zoning half the point with this and your team gets to stand on it and you get a lot of space out of it at least. But here you're not really getting anything done with that. You can hear the Rhine to your right pretty easily, so I would be paying attention to your audio cues here. So you can just hear him walking here, really fucking loud, he's not even crouching. So, if you just listen, you can hear, his armor, just clanking around and shit. When you're coming up. So you hear him being loud as fuck over there. He goes, he hides in the corner. You can hear him still, he's walking in that hallway. You can still hear him dicking around in the hallway over there. Pretty easily. Now he's going to be right behind you, and he does have Shatter. Okay, and they also use Maywall. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think most of that was just a failure to utilize the high ground. So you guys did not go up here a single time. You went main every single time you went through the center choke into a May. So I think if you'd gone up here, you would have at least made it to the point a couple times. But you just kept going the same direction here, into the May, into the Rhine. So I would go up here, and I think the second biggest thing was you weren't really prepared for the enemy's ults. You weren't really tracking them, I don't think, or you weren't ready for them. So the May ult cucked you there at the end. There wasn't a whole lot you could do about it, but you definitely could have approached it a little differently, save your speed boost for it, try to spread out your team a little bit so they can't just get you for free with it. And then also the Baptiste ult probably would have sped up your team and con over to the left here or something, and then you put the Bap wall right here on the point, and then it's okay, if the enemy stands on the point now, anywhere except for right here, they're just dead. They're just peeking a Bap ult. So it's really good to put it on a doorway like this where it's hey, now I can zone the whole point. Or if they because they have to stand here, otherwise they're losing. So you can do that. It's really good to combo that if you hadn't swapped your Orisa, or two of the Orisa, you had a Rhine. It's really good to combo that with Shatter. You can either hit the Shatter and then use the Bap ult to make sure people die, or you can use it before, break the enemy shield, and then your Rhine runs in and shatters because they don't have a shield. Either one of those is pretty good, but I want to see a lot more of the DPS being on flanks. Your team is oh, we got to all stick together, all six of us all in a pile, which that can work. You can run a death ball comp, and that's kind of fine. But into a May is really good against that, and Orisa is not that great at doing that. You probably want to run the Rhine if you're doing that. And if you're not running the Rhine and you're not running a death ball kind of comp, I think you should probably have your DPS be on flanks a good bit more. Maybe have one of the supports go with them. So I know right now with your heal comp you have Baptiste and Lucio, so you feel like you got to stay together. You could just swap that. That's one option. You could have a Mercy or an Ana or somebody go up top right. If you had an Ana instead of a Bap, I think it would have been a lot better. For this, I think the Bap was pretty good with the Rhine, but once you swap to Orisa, I don't think it's anywhere near as good. So I think, say you had an Ana and your Hanzo like you did at the beginning, or even your Bastion that you have now, you all go top right. So not all. You could go main, but like say you split. You have like your Lucio, your Rein, and your Reaper go main, and then the Ana and the Bastion go up here. And now they basically can't hold right where they are right now. Say they were, because they were basically holding you in this courtyard the whole time. They were right over here. So if you have a Bastion up here and an Ana up here, so say the Ana comes up and she nades them in, like because the Ryan's sitting right here, he's holding his shield. Say she nades them, she antis like 3. Now your team just runs into them and they all explode because they're antied. And you also have a Bastion up there. That's pretty like huge. So because of that threat, they now have to back up, right? And they can't push forward either. So if say they push forward because they're like, oh, there's 3 here, we're 5, and there's 2 up there, so we'll just ignore them and run into these guys, right? That's why you have the Lucio down here. If you have a Lucio down here, you just back up, kite them. They can't do shit about it, right? They can't catch you because you have a Lucio. So you just speed back, they speed forward, they'll never catch you. So, and then at that point, your Ana and your Bat, or your Ana and your Bastion, you can go a little further in, and like, they're never gonna, like, they can just take the point at that point. And then your team comes in, they're like stuck between both of you. They're going to get antied at that point, and like that's kind of a losing proposition for them. But regardless, you need to be cross-firing them, so you need to be going up on high ground is the important part. The main reason I said the Ana should go up there is because say a Bastion goes up here alone, it's kind of hard for him to just like, he'll get poked out by the McCree or the Mei, he's a little weak, now he has to hide and run away all the way back, and there's no health packs up here, so that's why he needs a healer with him, so so he can flank effectively. Or just have a flanker like Tracer or something. But with your current comp, I think that would have been the best way to do it. You could send the BAP up there too, that's fine. It's not quite as effective as Ana, but you could definitely still send the BAP up there. But the main thing to think about here is you need to be using the high ground, and when, especially if there's a Mei, you need to be taking flank routes, and you can't just all be forcing your way through the center every time when there's a Mei. It really doesn't work that well. Alright, aside from that, it's mostly just ult economy stuff. Okay, let's take a look at the next map. I'm gonna look a little more at the DPS this round because I didn't look at the DPS a single time, I feel like. I looked at the Bastion once, I didn't look at McCree at all. So I'm gonna try and focus a little bit more on DPS this round because I was mostly looking at tanks and supports last round. Okay, so once again, you guys are running the same comp as last time. Your comp is fine here. I think Arissa's actually pretty good on this point. Just because she can deny a lot of space, and she can, if they're challenging you on the point, you can boot people off and stuff. You got to be careful about people running Junkrat and stuff on this point. It's really good on this map. So the main decision here that you're going to make as a team is whether you want to go right or left. So if you go left here, this is where Junkrat's really strong because he just fires down this little hallway basically and like fucking destroys everyone. So he's pretty good there. They are not running a Junkrat, thank your lucky stars, but you just got to be aware of like spam type stuff coming down this hallway. It's very dangerous, especially you don't have a shield, you have an Orisa, so it's kind of scary. That being said, you usually want to go this direction because this is kind of like as close as you can get to a high ground on this point is this right here. And this is a really good spot for like if you can win this fight over here, and then when they go point, you leave your supports right here. They can see the whole point. They have a little health pack. They can see their flankers coming a mile away. Like they can back up this way for another health pack. Like your supports are in a pretty good spot here, very protected. So you want to leave your supports right here if you can when you go to the point. But first step of that is you have to either, you know, win this fight over here, or at least force them away enough that like you can both rotate to the point, and then your supports or DPS are left over here. So I think going left is probably the play here. But one thing that Orisa is really good at is going in this room here. So if you go this way and you go down here, this is another reason Junkrat's terrifying on this point, is say you're in this tiny room, Junkrat's spamming in here, it's very dangerous. But say you're sitting right here, right? And like you're fighting from in here, and say now they want to come to the point, you have an Orisa, you just press E and walk forward and just push them off the point into the pit and they die. So Orisa's pretty good going to the right. So I would consider going to the right just because of that. Orisa's very good at pushing people off the point here. But going to the left is probably the right play in most situations, just because this is a really good spot to see, whereas on this side, you can't really assist. Like if you're a support and you're over here, you have to peek all of that just to heal. Like say your tank's in this corner or over here playing this, like you have to peek all of this shit, put the side of your head to their whole team just to heal. Whereas over here, you're nice and in cover, pretty safe, and you can still heal everyone. So that's why the left is usually a little bit better. Okay, you guys are going to the right. If you are going to go to the right, I would recommend dropping down onto the point, like I said. This right here isn't really great because now they have the high ground and they have that whole left side to themselves, so their supports are in a great spot. Yours really aren't. So this isn't a great way to push. It's fine. I think what I would do instead, if you see them pushing up like that, I would either rotate back around through here and push them out, or I would drop over there and go onto the point. One of the two. Probably the first one, because if you do that, then they can just kind of follow, drop behind you, charge you out, something like that. So, but we'll see what you guys do. Okay, so they are a little bit split here. So they're Ryan and Lucio on the left, the rest of them are up there. Okay, your team's going around. And they charge to the point there, right? So now that they charge to the point, they're kind of split. They're actually really split. So if you just ran into the rest of their team here, I think you just kind of win. So I would definitely not be this far back as McCree right now, unless you're going for a flank. So I would definitely still be up here. I probably would be scoping out, well, this guy's feeding, but so I'd probably be scoping out this left side here to make sure they don't wrap around, and if they do, like this guy, he's literally free. Like, you have a Lucio, right? Oh, no, you don't have a Lucio, you have a Mercy. Okay. If you did have a Lucio, you could speed into this guy and murder him like 100% of the time. Since you don't, I'd still probably have your McCree here and watching this flank, and then if he does push up or somebody tries to do this, you can probably still kill him most of the time. Or at least you should be peeking right here. Like, this is your side of the map. You don't need to be so scared of them. Your team is like really, really far back, and your Bastion's all the way back here. So you could wrap all the way back around here, but there's really no point in doing that. All you've really done is trade spawns, which is like not really useful. So I'd probably just push back through this direction, get the McCree out, get their supports out, whatever, go to the point. That's fine. You can maybe kill some people here, but since they do have a May, you do have to be careful about getting walled right here and also right here when you go to the point. So I would say that it's pretty good for your team to go back around this direction. And that's another reason that your this right here is really good against their May. So if you're right here, it's really difficult for your supports to heal if they get walled. You could maybe jump up here and heal as a BAP. But like, say your tank is like pushing this way, the same way, and then you're right here as a support, you can pretty easily take a step to the side and see him and help him out. So anyways, I think your DPS need to be a lot further up here. Like, you're not really doing a whole lot by being back here unless your team is planning to drop down in here. There's really not a whole lot for you to be doing over here. So you got to try to make sure you're staying in the fight. It just seems like there's some miscommunication here on where you're going. So your team could go all on the Rhine here. That would be an option, but I don't think you'd be able to kill him because the Kiriko would just TP to him and vuln him and stuff. So I'd probably ignore this over here. Yeah, they're all on the point now, and you guys didn't really contest it. Okay. So yeah, they did wall that. Okay. So there's not a whole lot going on here with the McCree. I think you should be trying to think about your sight lines. So once again, go over on this side over there, you can see the whole point. Go up here on high ground, you can see the whole point. You can get a lot more done. If you're in these little corners over here, it's very difficult for you to get anything done as McCree. So I just keep that in mind. I'm going to watch your Bastion here a little bit because I didn't see what he was doing that fight. Okay, it looks like you're pinging over there, so it looks like you guys were calling to go down that way, which is a good idea. I think you should have all gone down there. That would have been better than what you did do. But going around the back here, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but it's better than just wandering around inside here. At this point, the point's already unlocked, and you guys haven't made any real effort to go stop that. Here, if you go turret form right here, you can probably kill this McCree. Okay, so you are now pushing onto the point. It's a little late, I think, but you're doing it. Your wrist is already fortified, which is probably a little bit early. good. Breaking that, he dies. Okay, well that was a decent usage of your turret form there. I probably would have just stayed focused on the Mei wall and the team up there instead of the McCree. I understand that he was doing damage and he killed your BAP, but your Orissa's walled right there, so you really want to make sure that their whole team can't just like lay into you. And also, you see how low they are? Like if you had continued to, like if all of your shots had gone onto their team on that side, I think you probably would have killed at least one more, probably the Mei, and that would have been huge. But I understand why you shot at the McCree. I just think your team should have gone a little bit more up there. Your McCree is apparently popping off now, so I'm gonna go watch that for a second. But yeah, just be careful about that there. That was a good nade. Okay, so as McCree here, that was 2 really good kills. I would not be going to the point. So now that you've created some space, your McCree, you really don't want to be on the point almost ever. So I would be probably, because this McCree is still on the right here, I'd just be strafing to the left. You need to clear this out. Otherwise, this Kiriko and this McCree are just going to sit here raining death and also heals down on their whole team. So you really need to be zoning them out over here. That was 2 really solid kills. Your team is up now. So because you res the BAP, you only lost your Orisa, they lost their Rhine and their Mei. So you're up 1 now. So your team can easily walk onto this point, but as the DPS, usually your job is to stay off the point and control the space to make sure that you're denying space from the enemies and also kill people who are on the point. McCree's pretty good close range, but that's only because he has his bomb, right? You've already used that. It's just not really conducive for McCree to be very close range on the point all the time. You get a lot more done if your healers don't really have to pay attention to you. You can just sit off to the side of the point and shoot, which is what their McCree is doing if you notice. So this is how you should be positioned probably. This is right just like this. And you want to do as much damage as you can from over there and stop them from doing the same. So remember what I was saying last round, how you have like 1 healer and 1 DPS or something like that flank and sit off on the side angle? That's exactly what they're doing here if you notice. So you sit like this and they can just sit here and mess with you, and even though you're Bastion beat this guy up for half his HP, he has a Kiriko right here, he can continue to deal damage to your team and be really super annoying, right? They probably still lose this fight, but you just as McCree, you usually want to stay off the point, let anyone else on your team cap, and then you like do Overwatch on the point, and you look at it, and if anybody touches it, you murder them in the face, right? Okay, see, that right there is exactly why you don't contest the point as McCree. See, he learned that the hard way, right? So you don't do that, basically. His Lucio is on the point. Yeah, his Lucio is probably fucked, but like the only way that they win this is if the McCree pops off, and he's not going to pop off by being on the point. So that kind of goes for both sides. You shouldn't be here, neither should he. It's also a lot easier to hit Lucio's if you're a little bit further away, so that's also a thing. Okay, nice kill there. I definitely would not have backed up into this corner. I would have backed up out here. So, because like Ryan's just really good in this room, he can get a free charge. His hammer covers almost the whole room. It's easy to get flame strikes. So you don't probably want to be in here, especially when you're split, because your Orisa's over here. So you wanted to, as McCree there, and also your Mercy, who's pocketing you, is also over here. So you're getting pocketed by Mercy. You wanted to roll back this way. It would have been a lot safer. And also your BAP probably shouldn't be there either. But anyways, so you want to be back this way. You've killed the McCree, you've killed the Lucio. The Mei is on her way back, she's not quite here yet. You're still up, right? This is still totally winnable. The main problem here is the tank is now on the point, and she is still raining heals down from on high, right? So this is your main problem right here, this chick, right? So you want to make sure that you as McCree can LOS her or stop her from healing the Rhine long enough, or kill her, that your team can actually kill the Rhine force, not the point. So you as McCree should be going this way direction to either get her to stop healing the Rhine or kill her, right? And then your Orisa and your BAP, so your Orisa should be on the point. Your BAP should probably be like right here. Also shooting at that, because you can kind of just ignore Orisa for most of it, so also shooting at her or shooting at the Rhine, and probably just generally dishing out heals from here, and mostly damage right now, because your team is really healthy, so he should probably just do his best Soldier 76 cosplay for the next 30 seconds, and then if your Orisa gets a little weak, you can heal her up. because Orisa is just the tankiest tank in the world, so she probably doesn't need a whole lot of attention. But anyways, you got to be killing this Kiriko over here. That's the important thing. And going into this room just might be a death sentence. Okay, your Orisa did push up actually. It's fine, so you can come right back out. That's good. I would not be focusing the Rhine here, like, because he's getting hard-pocketed. You're just not going to get a lot done. That was a really good attempt by your Orisa to push him off the map. At least I think that's what that was. That is what you want to be doing as Orisa on this point, is you want to be trying to push people off the map. You're playing way too close to McCree right here. So as I said before, you want to be off the point. So you're not taking damage and taking attention to, like, making your healers heal you so much. And then your Mercy can focus on damage boosting people, and she can focus on keeping your Orisa up. And you would still be dealing just as much damage, probably more, if you were just chilling over here. So you just don't want to be quite so close as McCree. It's very dangerous. Okay, so here you do have your high noon. It's a decent time to use it, but see how they're all in the corner here? You're probably not going to get a whole lot done from right here if you do it. Probably not. They'd probably all just get away and they'd be fine. So I probably wouldn't do it, but you are capping the point, so I could see you doing it to stop them from contesting. But a much better angle to do it would be right here. It forces them further off the point. Like they have to be even further behind that corner, and you're just safer doing it from there. So I would probably do it there, but I can see an argument to do it here. But if you're going to do it, I would wait for them to like commit or something, and then you do it after. So if they come in here to try and contest, which they did not, that would have been a good time to high noon. I don't like the stick there. You basically never stick the Mei unless you know she doesn't have that. So if she has her ice block, she's just going to ice block it. You're never going to get anything done with that. I also really don't like the roll in general there. Like rolling up into their team like that, that's a really good way to die a horrible, painful death. Like you didn't need the reload. You didn't need to position quickly there. There was really no reason for you to roll right there. I don't think you're going to get punished for it, but I don't think that was good. Okay, so right there, if you'd had it, that would have been a great time to stick it on the Lucio. And then all it does is you just left click him once, stick him with that, he's dead. This high noon is not terrible, but as I said before, I think you want him to be a little bit more engaged on this before you do it. Because they should have Mei wall here, which means they just wall this off and you get nothing. So you want to wait for the Mei wall, but also you want to be at a better angle so you could see them better, and also so they can't escape. Okay, it appears that they have no interest in escaping, so that's good for you. You also did a lot of shield damage here, so you should probably focus the Rhine. Okay, I would roll out of that. So the Rhine is behind you here, so I don't know if you lost him, but you probably should have rolled forward to your team there. Yeah, the Rhine is still right behind you. Okay. So you could have won that, I think, if you'd rolled back and probably just reset. This room, as I said earlier, is really, really good for Ryan. You don't usually want to retreat in here. You were still up there when you rolled back, so just be careful about that. It was a very clean fight win for them. So you have an Orisa here. I kind of liked the Lucio with the Orisa because her ult is like not the best, but Lucio makes it a lot better because she can just speed in there and do it, so it makes it a lot easier for her to get it off. So I would consider in the future running that. Yep, that sounds about right. So they're coming up here to catch staggers, which is a good idea. So your whole team should probably just be backing up from the spawn. This McCree should not be going back out probably, but... Okay, we killed 2 there. You can maybe win this. That was a bit of an overextension by them. Okay, you res the Orisa. You guys can walk back in. This is a much better position by McCree here, so you can see everything. This is really good. She forced a wall, so now you should be rolling up to your left here, and you want to like get around the wall and see if you can still bully her. And you can probably maybe catch her. Oh, okay, she got out. You guys are still on the point. Your Bash needs to be careful that I'll walk into him here. Okay, cool. So see, you're in a good spot. Like, you immediately have cover. The rest of your team is kind of caught out here. Okay, okay. Okay, so walking back out here, not good when they have High Noon going, for obvious reasons. I don't like this Orisa ult, so you're standing in a High Noon, right? You really don't want to be using Orisa ult in that situation. Like, if we go back and just watch this from the Orisa's POV. So, okay, I almost would never use that for speed boost, as a general rule. You want to save that, but it's fine right in that instance. At that time, it was not fine, because now you're coming into the fight, right? The first time it was fine, because it's going to be back by the time you get to the point. The second time here, this is not a good usage of it, because you're entering the fight. You need this ability to boop people. If you're going to get to these stairs up here, it'd be really good to be able to boop them off with that. Or it just in general, that's your main tanking ability, in my opinion. So you really should be saving that for this coming fight. But now he's High Nooned. You could block the High Noon with it, which would be really good. But you're still standing in a High Noon. You know, the Fortify is decent. It's good, but it's not going to save you from the High Noon. It just takes a little longer for him to charge it up. But if you Fortify is a tool that you can use to get from inside of a High Noon to cover. You don't use it and then just stand in the High Noon. You're going to die doing this. And then here, like, you're definitely dead here. Because, like, yeah, this wouldn't be a terrible ult if there was no High Noon in the equation. But with him just staring at you here, like, this is not going to end well for you. And they also beated that. So you're dead there. Your McCree also walked back out into it, which was... you just got to be aware of... Like, you saw the High Noon, which is why you went into cover in the first place. If you are going to peek, make sure you're just jiggle peeking a corner, like, a little bit here and there. Like, that, not fully out of cover, because if you do, you're going to explode. And so High Noon, from the time that he fires the High Noon until the bullet hits you, there is a slight delay. So say that you're peeking a corner, just in and out, you can survive because he'll click because he sees you out of cover, but you're peeking in and out, so you'll go back in and he'll hit the wall and he won't get you. So you can get him to waste his High Noon sometimes doing that, and it's just a lot safer. You can still stay in the fight a little bit, but you definitely shouldn't have gone back out there as McCree when they were doing that. And then the result there really was, it was very dangerous. There's really the only way you survive that is if your BAP immortality fields you, and I don't think he was in a position to do so. But let me double check that, I guess. Because if that was like the call, was like, hey, go do this, I'll immortality you, that's one thing, but... Yeah, he could have. He could have. It wasn't... Yeah, he definitely could have. But I'm assuming this either wasn't called out. He's also 5 HP. So it's a little hard. How did he not die to that? Oh, I think I know what happened. No, I don't. I lied. I think he just didn't charge it up enough on you. I'm going to watch the McCree's perspective. But, right. So he 9 here, your McCree hides. Yeah, so your BAP peeks here and almost dies to it. That's what it is. He just didn't have it charged enough. But, yeah, so... Very dangerous there. Your BAP could have hit you with the immortality field, maybe, and he tried. It was just a little late, but he did try. And if he'd peeked earlier to do it, he might have just still died, but to the High Noon. But he could have maybe done it. It was not great. You just want to, like, if you're getting zoned by High Noon, you don't need to force it. Just back off for a second, let the High Noon run out. It's not that good of an ult, so just let it run out, move on with your life. And then go back in. Okay, so your team is very dead and very losing this fight now, so I would just leave. You can kill that McCree now that because you're being pocketed there. I think you could have done it. I might have even, since like... yeah. Since this is going to be the last fight, I definitely wouldn't be running into their spawn because you need to regroup for this last fight, right? So the only person pushing you here is the McCree. So I think right here, you're getting pocketed by your Mercy a little bit, you heal. You definitely don't run this direction. You run this direction. And you get this, right? You get this health pack, and then you go back to your team to regroup into spawn. Your Mercy was also pocketing you for a second. I think she's coming back to heal you. So you and the Mercy, I think you just write off the rest of your team down here. And maybe you even just solo with this McCree, because like this is the last fight coming up here. You need an advantage coming in. The McCree's right here, kind of in the open. Like if he peeks you again, you can kind of just ult him and kill him as BAP. because your Mercy is healing you. So if not, that's fine. I'd just run back, get this, regroup with your team, and come in with your ult for the next fight. That's fine too. I would not have used the Valk ult here, I don't think, since you were down, unless you'd used it before. I don't think you did, but let me just double check that. But I don't think we used... I think we used this after. Right, so you're hiding here, that's the right call. Your Orisa is very died. Okay, so I do see that you used it before people died, so that makes sense. If nobody had died at that high noon, this would have been a good Valk. Since they did die a horrible, painful death to this, I don't really like this. So, not great. But I see why you did it. Okay, so now you're kind of just flying around a little bit. Yeah, that's not good. So you definitely could have escaped with your life there. So, this is the last fight coming up. You're, you know, it's almost 90%. You had Valk. All you really had to do was fly out. So here, I probably would have stuck with your BAP. So just fly up a little bit, follow your BAPs, and heal them. If not, same thing I was saying to your BAP. So if you're not going to stick with him and heal him and kill the McCree, which you probably could have done, you just leave. Just leave, just fly this way. You have 6 seconds left in your Valk. Just fly over here and go back to your team. And it's like, hey, I wasted my ult. It's not a big deal though, because like it wasn't a terrible ult when you cast it. It was just like immediately after you press Q, 2 your teammates died. Whatever. Cut your losses. Go back to spawn. Regroup. You have 1 fight left, right? So keep the BAP alive. He's your only ult for this next fight. So keep him alive. Get the hell out. That's your options here. Instead, you kind of float here. I think you're looking for someone to fly to. Your BAP was the only person left alive, so I think you should just fly out. But since like now your ult's almost gone, you just kind of fell off the map and died. If you are going to do that, I understand. You're like, okay, I got to reset quick for this last fight. I think you're a little late. I don't think you can actually make it in time, dying that late. So your team's coming in here for the last fight, and I don't think they even get to touch here. No, they do not. Okay, so for that last point, I think the main things is you got to be using the high ground here on the side, getting more crossfire. So same as first point, you gotta be getting crossfire on with your DPS, and then you gotta be thinking about ult economy more. Yeah, that's also a thing. I didn't watch the supports much that round, but for your DPS mostly, it's you gotta be taking off angles, making sure you're in the fight, and so on this map that means right here. And right here, because I didn't see anybody on your team go over here a single time, and this is like the best position to be in. It's also just a really good position to leave your supports in, and you got to be careful about pushing up a little too far. And just you should always have a little counter in the back of your mind of how many people you have in the fight. So like, am I 5v5 or are we 4v5 or whatever? And like, do we need ults to remedy this and make it a winnable fight? So ult planning, ult tracking is all very important. But I think it's the biggest thing that you guys are having trouble with is you're just sticking all together in a little ball as a team. You need to split off a little bit more and get some crossfire going. I think that's the number one thing that you guys need to work on. But the swaps are decent. I think the Orisa was a decent pick into that comp. It was pretty good. You just got to think about, especially on this point, boops are really, really good. So you got to be thinking about how you can use your ability to, stop them from getting onto the point. So that would be like you're sitting back here in this corner, and then if they push down these stairs, then you can push them off with Orisa ult, or not ult, so with Orisa's E. That's very good for you, and also you got to be using your shield break, because you had way, way, way better shield break than them for basically the entire game. But you really weren't taking the long sight lines and making them fight you on those long sight lines that you could leverage that, right? So when you first came out, like, you went off to the right here, which, as I said, can be good for Orisa, but with your comp, with Bastion and stuff, I think you probably want to be on the left here, because say, like, what they did is they pushed right over this with their Reinhardt. So if you have your whole team, Orisa, Bastion, McCree, all shooting down this, and he's just holding right click and walking at you, they never make it to you. Their shield just explodes, right? So this is a really long sight line that you guys can use and dump a lot of damage down, and they're never going to make it to you guys if you're all shooting at their shield. But instead, you kind of let them wrap around here, gave them a lot of space to work with. So like you guys got to take space and control it, especially with Bastion and McCree. Like they need the space to get stuff done. So, and if you're sticking them in corners over here in little rooms, they're not really getting anything done. So you got to take your longer sight lines and make sure that you're allowing your team to use them with this comp. All right, I'm gonna end it here. GG guys.